to the Mobile County Public Schools Athletic Show. My name is Brad Lowell, District Athletic Director for the Mobile County Public Schools. Today we're here with Williamson High School and Coach Sumter. Coach, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thank you, Brad.
Well, Coach, year's come to an end. Williamson had a very good season this year. Recap it for us a little bit. Tell us about, where y'all started kind of at the beginning of the year, and then where you ended up, and just kind of how the season went.
Yes, sir. We like you said, the season went well, but we had a little more expectations on this year team. So you're always proud of the process of getting a step. But to win 7 games in that region, and 2 of the games we lost, these 2 guys went to the state championship, and you was right there. But really just make you recap, very proud of the guys because they got down to 20 players again. And those guys had a really good coaching staff. And one of the highlights, and like you said, you've been around here longer than me, and when my career first started, and it was to see that we were number 5 to number 9 in the state. That was like a sense of pride, because I knew what a program was before I got there, and then how we was able to, that it has grown. But that meant a lot. But I still think that we could have been just a tad better, a little more discipline on the field, a little more fundamental work. That I think that we could have went farther. Because as long as you could play defense in any level, you have a chance to win.
Well, you hit on some good points, and congratulations on an outstanding year. And you talk about instilling pride, being put back into the rankings.
Yes,
and y'all started off. I think y'all had 5 shutouts in like the first 6 or 7 games.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to see that. And you go back to the history of Williamson, and you're right. The history of Williamson's very strong. And I know when Coach Parrish was there as the coach, he had some really good football teams and players like Jamarcus Russell and Nick Fairley, and then of course Coach Coleman, who played on some of those teams. What is the history of Williamson High School? How has that impacted the kids coming into today? I mean, do y'all try to instill that history? Do they know about it?
Yes, sir. That's the first thing that I do. I mean, that's the first thing that we, because once we prepare for our what we call the Night of Champions. The Night of Champions is a banquet only for the feeder school kids, only for new incoming players. Okay. So with that night, we instilled the pride, the memories of how well that the teams that coach had before him, even the great Levi Washington. Right. So this is a way that I instilled the tradition and the pride of the school, just making that night just for them, almost like we honoring you to something great. Right. And that's why I had my staff kind of feel with these guys, homage to them also, but at the same time, look to let the kids know, hey, I come from this. Look where Coach at. Look where he at. So I take a lot of pride in, in instilling the values and letting them understand the homage to the success.
Well, I think that's important because a lot of, it's hard to bring tremendous success when you don't know where you come from or what the past was. People that have tremendous success understands the past and understands the vision for the future.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's a good deal that y'all put on for them.
Yes, sir.
I know you had some pretty key players this year. One is Woodyard. Yes, I know he's one of the top prospects in the state, and he's only going to be a junior next year.
A junior.
And so how many seniors are you did you have on the team?
Mm-hmm. I think I lost 8. Okay. And I lost like 5 starters. Mm-hmm. 14 starters come back.
Oh, wow.
14 come back, but 14 come back for 2 years. So the whole offensive line come back, quarterback come back. We just losing 2 linebackers when Robert was out. Mm-hmm. It's 2 freshman linebackers who started. So, you know, this is a place that we never been before because we always rebuild from nothing. But this time, 14 starters come back. And with a guy like, when you have one of the best players in the nation, it helps.
Well, and so, you know, getting into the future and having, you know, a big nucleus of kids coming back. I know the regions are about to change with the reclassification.
Yes, sir.
And you have Viger, that's probably going to come down to 4A,
Yes, sir.
which is always a strong contender every year.
Yes, sir.
But you also are losing UMS
Yes, sir.
and maybe even Hillcrest
Yes, sir.
that could bump out. So what does that kind of look like for you guys?
Region 1 always going to be tough. But the advantages of playing the UMS, it teaches the cerebral aspect of playing the game. Knowing that these guys probably never going to be as athletic as you, but they execute to a high level. And sometimes you need to play those type teams because if you ever reach the finals of the state championship, you gon' and you know, and then you really gonna pattern yourself off the way that they go about doing things. But I mean, that's a good team.
Yeah.
Probably not Coach Curtis' best team that he had, but there was a tremendous job because this was not his best team. But the will that they possessed, man, was outstanding.
Yeah.
I hate to lose them, but at the same time, okay, I take it.
Right.
But you may be pulling in another strong contender with Mobile Christian. Within the last 4 years, been to the state championship. Viger, tradition, always. They was kind of down a little bit, but you know they gonna bounce back. Then Jackson, it doesn't get any easier.
That's right. No, it doesn't.
But we are the veteran team for a chance.
Yeah.
And we, you know, coaching, the standards are we cannot accept being the 4th seed or going out in the first round. It's unacceptable.
So I know you mentioned that the veterans that you'll have coming back. I know you can't substitute playing time and game experience. You know, and of course that sets the tone for those kids to teach even the younger kids that are coming in to fill those roles for the other team. You know, going into the break here and coming back in January, what is your expectation starting in January for your team? What do y'all do?
Coach, really setting the identity. I ate breakfast with Ben Blackman, right? Pick his brain, and the first question he asked me, what's the identity of your coach? I mean, what's the identity of your team? So this is a time that I realized that I have to set that identity, physical downhill running now with the type of weight program that complies with the identity now.
No, that makes sense. And that's a good point. You know, I think everybody has to be on the same page and know what kind of team that we want to be.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that's a good point to start that, you know, as early as possible to instill that. Well, Coach, we got to go to break, and then we'll be back after the break.
Hello, my name is Abby Dinkins. My children go to E.R. Dixon Elementary School. The education that my kids are getting, it's tremendous. There's one time that I thought about homeschooling my kids because I wasn't sure, you know, we're new here. And when I enroll my children at the public school, and I'm just blown away because the teachers are nice, the curriculum itself is different. I believe in Mobile County public school education for preparing my children for life. I bought smartboard that too.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
Welcome back to the show, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about something that Williamson has that no other Mobile County Public School high school has, and that's being able to have a middle school campus on the same campus as the high school.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us a little bit about that and how that kind of can help in the athletic realm of things.
The best thing about it that we identify early. Once we identify early, now we're able to place those kids into positions early. Identify strengths and deficiency within the student athlete, you know, to try to build better pride, instill the academic values in them early. Then also know to set the tone for the program as a sixth grader. And it's almost to the field, if you ever travel to a UMS game or say a home game, before the team runs out, all of the little kids runs out. So now that instills into their brain that, hey, I'm a Bulldog for life, I'm excited. And that's the same way that we approach the middle school. And one thing that me and the basketball coach always talk about is that, hey, man, it's really a prep academy.
Right, that's right.
We the only one that can have this advantage. And I think it's going to pay off to winning the championship just by having those young guys on campus and instilling the brand values in them early. It's gonna pay off tremendously.
Yeah, I can't imagine how exciting that was to know that the middle school kids were going to be coming on campus. I know for a coach, that's got to be a huge beneficial to know. You know, I can personally be visible every day to those kids. And like you said, but you mentioned a good point too, student athlete, you know, a lot of those kids are even learning how to study, learning how important it is to start early with their grades, because how many times have you seen where kids, you know, in their 9th and 10th grade, when you first get them, you know, they struggle academically, realize they're a pretty good player, but now it's too late.
I mean, you hit the nail right on his head. And that's something that where, you know, what I try to do early, once I identify one thing that I do unique, I have a learning style test. So I test every kid to kind of see what their way of learning. Once we identify how they learn, now it's easy to kind of put them in some successful situation. And with our character ed class, so we just try to be a pride on, man, really being a student athlete, because at any time athletics can leave you. But the values of athletics goes a long way throughout life.
That's right. And you brought a good point again on you talking about trying to figure out how they best learn by each individual student athlete, but also instilling character education within your program and the values of that, because like you mentioned, you know, it's one thing just being athletic, but that's not going to win you games.
It's not.
You know?
It's not. And coaching, as an ex-basketball coach, I used to resent when they be like, you have athletes. I never liked that term. I like the term of being a cerebral athlete, the one that could think athletic just genetically.
Right.
And you notice that those never the teams that really win. I want that athlete to be developed neck up.
Right.
And that's the next thing they're going to get us to a state championship.
No, I think you're, you know, definitely pointing in the right direction with building the holistic athlete, like you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And that is so important. But it also, you know, when you do that, it also, you know, because a lot of times athletes are kind of the models of the school.
Yes, sir.
And so if they're doing things the right way, that could also impact an entire school and community.
That's right. If you watch, if you do the research on all the state champions, that everything is built to be conducive towards winning that. But you also see the pride, the cleanliness, the behavior in the school really reflects the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And, with a school like Williamson, which is a 4A school, most of the time each sport relies on sharing athletes, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so I know you guys really support that and support
Yes,
each
sir.
other. And I'm a big supporter of that. There's so much out there today on sports specialization where people are encouraging kids just to play one sport. They think they have to do this, and that's all in order to be the best at it. But I'm such a believer in the more sports you play, the better athlete you become.
You become. And also they give that, and I think that's the advantage of a guy like me who won the state championship coaching basketball. So, you'll get that from some football coaches that did first, but it's different with me because I was a basketball coach for 10 years. I was a baseball coach. I was a soccer coach. So I always believe in sharing athletes. And then Dr. Andrews did a report stating that that's why the ACL injuries has increased because kids are becoming specialists too early.
Right.
So I'm a firm believer in spreading the wealth throughout every program.
Yeah, and because you want all your programs to be successful.
That's right.
I mean, you're the athletic director of the
That's
school,
right.
so school pride, of course, is many times built around athletics.
Yes, sir.
And if just, for example, if football's the only thing that's doing well and nobody else is doing well, compared to where if all programs were doing well, that really changes the culture of a school.
That do, because now that once the new kids come in, that they understand that we're successful across the board, that enticed them to want to be a future Lion.
Well, that goes back to your sixth graders coming in.
That's right.
Do y'all encourage them to play multiple sports from the get-go?
Yeah, because we have what we call a athletic sharing meeting. So all us get in there with the newcomers and also as players that have been in it and understand that we're on the same accord with sharing athletes. And I even did something last year to the point to where that during the off season, even though it's technically over the summer, everybody think that football season, but really technically the beginning of it is basketball. So what I did last year, I straight gave the guys that play basketball, I gave them 3-week window. That's all that they did. Only thing I just asked to come in and lift weights. So that was the thing that I think highlighted the solidarity between us and the other coaches.
That's a good point. And I think by having that type of meeting like that really puts everybody on the same page.
Yes, sir.
So when, like, for example, when you bring in coaches for Williamson, I'm sure it's an understanding right from the start, hey, we're going to share.
Yeah, we're going to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well, and with doing that, I think that it teaches the kids, it gives them the ability to venture out, to do more things and not be locked in just one thing. Plus, it keeps them busy.
That's the most important thing, keeps them out them streets.
That's right.
So, I just think all the major sports is ran at a very high level. And, we was ranked, the basketball team was #1 last year.
Right.
The upcoming one is how good the girls have a tremendous team.
Right.
So we'll have a chance in 1 year to see that those three sports is being ranked in the top 10, which shows a lot of success and hard work for everybody.
Coach, I appreciate it. We got to go to break, and we'll be back after the break.
To be in the AP program, it not only offers you great opportunities in the classroom, but also outside. Like being a member of the AP program, I can come into college already being a sophomore in college, so I can completely skip 1 year just by completing all my AP credits and by taking the classes and passing the exams. I would recommend other students to take AP classes because being a member of the program offers so many benefits and helps you decide what you want to do in the future and where you want to go with your life.
Welcome back to our show, Coach. Let's talk about something that has kind of been the staple in our area for Williamson High School. And I think it's a direct reflection on what you do with your program and how you get everyone on the same page with Williamson High School, from the administration to the coaches to the players to the faculty, and that's winning the Sportsmanship Award each year from the Alabama High School Athletic Association.
Yes,
Tell me a little bit about, the pride that you take in that, and because you've won it, I know, the last couple of years, and probably, 3 or 4 times now?
4.
4 times.
4 at Williamson, 1 at Bullitt County.
There you
I've
go.
won it 5 times.
Well, tell us a little bit about that and why you take such pride in that.
Because it's, I think it's the vision of the whole district, from the superintendent down to what you instill into us, to what Mr. Lane's vision is. Because the thing that to even be a great program, you have to model yourself off your behavior, and that means a lot. And just knowing that you're compliant to everything, to every now. You've been a former AD, is it tedious that you have to keep up with this? But that's just the pride that I set when I was a young AD. The first time I won it, I really didn't know what it was.
Right.
So now that was the first thing when I came into Williamson that I kind of had to just tighten a little bit up on. But now it's become a standard. Now you see it spread throughout the district. You see B. Saran won it. You see Blunt won it a couple of years ago. So now this become a standard of the whole athletic program in the district. Right. But it means a lot to me, Coach, because now to keep the behavior and just to be one of the coaches say, oh, he does it right.
Right.
All us are not perfect, but to do it right, to be known as one of those guys that does it right, means a lot to me.
Well, we live in a society that's so based on wins and losses, and they lose track of what's really important a lot of times. And that's exactly what's going on in the program itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we want to win. Everybody wants to win. But like you said, how are the kids, how do they act? Is your compliance the way it's supposed to be? Is the sportsmanship where it's modeled based on how you expect the school to be viewed as by other people,
Yes, sir.
And I know that's important to you.
Yes, sir. That's very important, and that's one of the ones to, for winning the state championship, but the pride of it, not just okay, they come in, it's all right, but known as being the one that, hey man, I think that this sets the standard for the whole state. And that means a lot. It's a lot of hours, but at the same time, is that when we all said and done, what are we truly going to be remembered as? Now, all of us in the game want to be remembered as state champions, but at the same time, when you look up and you see that kid 10, 15 years later, knowing that, hey, man, how much you love them, the value that you instill in them, makes you like, okay, to connect with your life purpose. Because your life purpose is not just going to be a legendary coach.
Right.
It's going to be the lives that you impacted.
Well, and let's take it another step and say, okay, to win this award, that means no fines.
No fines.
Okay, which means that, basically you had to go through an entire year
all sports
of nobody being ejected, no rules being broken, your paperwork being on point for the audits.
Yes, sir.
So, that in itself, like you said, there's a lot to that.
Yeah,
and,
it's a lot.
When you talk about just, no ejections, no rules being broken, there's a lot of rules out there. And especially dealing with eligibility.
Yes, sir.
And then even with kids, sometimes the heat of passion in sports sometimes kids kind of lose themselves for a minute and get ejected for whatever reason. So to being able to keep composure during those times, you know, all year long in every sport for the school, I think that speaks a lot of you, and I think it definitely reflects your reputation on what you do and the pride that you take with it.
But also, I think that reflects you also, Coach, because at the same time, that how tedious you are in your meetings, the values that you put out there, the more that you're accessible. Every great leader is not accessible, but you're accessible when you know, hey, I'm gonna come to you. You're gonna make sure it's right. You're gonna be diligent. So it's just not a reflection of just how well that I do. It's a reflection of the way that you're setting the standards and being accessible to us all. So I recommend, man, highly respect you for having the ears and the heart to do what you do.
Well, I appreciate it, and it takes a team effort, you know, to get something like that, because you can't do anything like that on your own. There's no way. And so to be able to get everyone on the same page and to be able to really promote your program to the standard that you want it to, and keep everybody on that same page the whole year, for everybody, it just speaks volume of Williamson High School. And so that's definitely something to be very proud of, and congratulations on those awards, because you have built the standard for that award down here. And so I definitely wanted to make sure we mentioned that, because that is what's important. I mean, it's important what you're teaching those kids. It's important to what, you know, how those kids, it's not about really what you do in the end on wins and losses, but where are they 10 years from when they leave Williamson? That's what's really, because that's a community transformation there.
That's an overhaul of the culture. That's a true understanding, but it goes back to when we view every state champions, everybody that's a state champion in some form of sport have control, hostile energy that they have to be controlled, and they have to be focused on that. So I just think that was the ingredient for one day to the point to where you got to think, I'm going on that 9 years, Coach. And it is, a state championship is reachable.
Sure.
Wouldn't have thought that 9 years ago, but it's attainable, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any doubts in what you do there. I appreciate it. The diligent work that you do to not only behind the scenes, but also on the field. It's a lot of time, and nobody really understands the time that it takes until they actually do it.
Yes, sir, they don't.
You know, I mean, that's just a fact. So I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you too.
Thank you for what you do, and good luck to you here in the near future. Hopefully see you back out
Appreciate
on the field soon.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, that'll conclude our show, and we'll be back next week.